confrontation between the smaller, slicker boxer and the bigger, stronger, presumably harder puncher. I say presumably because some of what McCline does remains a mystery. He's 34 years old, so is Byrd. There's a 6-inch height advantage for Jameel. There's a 1-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. And there's a weight advantage of 56, count them, 56 pounds, which may be an advantage for McCline, or which may be an advantage for Byrd. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Chris Byrd Jameel McCline fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules that you see on your screen. Jim, once again, the 4 criteria that the judges will use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense, with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching. Jim.
All right, thank you very much. Jameel McCline is pretty close to best friends with Chris Byrd. Their wives are even closer. Their wives are literally in grief about the fact that this fight takes place and that their friendship has to be momentarily interrupted. Larry, do you expect any emotional effect on the fight?
I really don't. They are professionals. Byrd, as he has pointed out, once fought his brother on a number of occasions as an amateur. But this is an unusually close relationship. McCline has actually slept at Byrd's house. The wives are very close. When Tracy Byrd, a grandmother, died recently, she got a bouquet from Mrs. McCline that said, "Sorry for your loss." Her first impulse was to think, is she telling me something about the fight, or is she telling me something about my grandmother?
Roy, do you think that was good dancing by Jameel, or should he stick to boxing?
It all depends on what type of dancing you like. If you like that type of dancing, it was really good. Myself, I don't prefer that type, so right now I wanted to stick to boxing because I wanted to prove something to me.
Some would have compared it to Mark Madsen at the Laker Parade a couple of years ago, but I don't want to insult him too much. He's 6'6" and 270 and a great guy. There's the smile of Jameel McCline. Maybe that means he's more relaxed tonight than against Klitschko 2 years ago, Vladimir, when he was wound tight as a drum. And here comes Chris Byrd. Now, Chris Byrd, some thought, lost to Frezo Kendo back in 2003. Chris Byrd, some thought, lost to Andrew Galata earlier this year in a fight that was ruled a draw. The question is Byrd still as elusive as once he was?
I think he's still as elusive. Maybe he's slowing down a little bit at 34 years old, but I know he still has his elusiveness about him.
Larry, do you think Byrd has exhibited insecurity about the criticism that he doesn't fight like a true heavyweight, and did that insecurity jeopardize him by making him vulnerable to the guys who've given him trouble?
Yeah, I think he wanted to show that he was ready to stand and deliver for once or twice. He thinks he can see big punches coming. You know, he has said frequently that he's always hated to be hit by big punches. He thought it was an insult if he got hit by a big punch.
Devout Christian, Byrd says, "I live to represent my God in the heavyweight division." Those are his big wins. The TKO 9 over Vitaly Klitschko came when Vitaly retired on his stool with an injured shoulder. Months after that, Vladimir Klitschko beat Chris up pretty thoroughly. Now let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Don King Productions now presents the first of 2 World Heavyweight title contests, brought to you in association with Madison Square Garden and Nemiroff. This contest brought to you in association with Fight Night. Sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission and the International Boxing Federation, IBF President Marion Muhammad. The 3 judges at ringside scoring this bout will be Glenn Feldman, Luis Rivera, and Don Trella. And when the bout starts, the man in charge of the action inside the ring, your referee, Wayne Kelly. And now, from Madison Square Garden, New York City, 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red with black. Official weight, 270 pounds. Professional record, 31 victories, including 19 knockouts, with 3 defeats and 3 bouts even. From Port Jefferson, New York, here is the challenger, Jameel Big Time McCline. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red, white, and blue. Official weight, 214 pounds. His professional record, 37 victories, including 20 knockouts, with only 2 defeats and 1 draw. Now living and fighting out of Las Vegas, originally from Flint, Michigan. Here is the 2-time champion and reigning, defending IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Chris Byrd.
Chris. All right, Jamal, Chris, we're boxing for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the world. I expect a clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Shake hands. Come out boxing at the bell. Good luck. 12 rounds.
When Vitaly Klitschko fought Byrd, he used the strategy of punching at the target instead of punching through it, meaning he recognized you couldn't hit Byrd with big punches. You wonder then how McCline, who is much less experienced as an amateur and as a pro, will do this. Will he try to overpower Byrd, or will he just try to use his good jab to set himself up maybe for something bigger down the road?
After 200+ amateur fights and an Olympic silver medal in Barcelona in the in the middleweight division, Chris Byrd has always styled himself a star. He would never have done what Jameel McCline, a latecomer to boxing, did to learn the sport. Going to college as a sparring partner against Lennox Lewis, Tim Witherspoon, Ray Mercer, Andrew Galata, Zelko Mavrovic, Michael Grant, Kirk Johnson, many of the leading lights in the division. When you learn your craft as a sparring partner, Roy, is it difficult to psychologically bring yourself to the point where you think you're the star?
No, not if you're in Jameel's case, because he didn't start out young in boxing. When you start out young and you build a reputation like myself or Chris Byrd did, then you can't decrease yourself to sparring partners mentality. But when you start in this game and you know you're behind, the only way to catch up is to get in the ring with the great fighters so that you can learn the game quickly.
Well, he's doing something very interesting here, Roy. Trying to use his jab, which is difficult against the southpaw, and going to the body. Byrd can fake all he wants, feint all he wants, but the body is there, and he's trying to go for the body.
And the night Chris Byrd first was beaten by Ike Ibeabuchi in Tacoma, Washington, it was partially because Ibeabuchi went at Byrd's body and lit him up.
Right away. But does Jameel McCline have the type of commitment that Ike Ibeabuchi had?
Is he that crazy?
No, he's not that talented either. Ibeabuchi was special in his talent.
Ibeabuchi hidden away in a Nevada jail and has been ever since the year 2000. Byrd, patient, cautious, round one, getting a look at McCline and what he wants to do.
There's another body punch by McCline.
And a left hand over the top by Chris Byrd. Byrd thinks, and probably correctly, that he hits harder with more snap when he weighs 210 or 212 than he did when he got up to 225 or 226.
He probably does, and he's much more elusive at this way, I know.
Body shot by Byrd, drives McCline back. See how difficult it is to land the jab against a slick southpaw as McCline keeps firing the jab and Byrd keeps blocking it with his right glove. But then McCline comes to the body with the right hand and has a chance, like that.
And that's a good right body shot he's throwing.
Looks like he's perfectly willing to let the jab be blocked if he gets the chance to throw the body shot.
Well, that's smart.
Pretty good round from McCline, I thought.
Take your time. Take your time, yeah. Because right now he's big and strong. Work your way in. Make a move, step around, and keep him turning. You know, you're a big man. Keep him turning. Rinse this out. Keep him turning now. You got to keep him turning. Keep the jab in the face going.
Keep that left hand in the mix. Every time you step up with the left hand, he pulls back. So you might have to double it up twice. Give me a set of twos, then drop the hook right hand or the right hand hook. Anything you want to throw off. And that right hand to the body's working nice. Now put a hook behind it. Good job. Don't worry about stepping on his toe. If he complains, step on his toe again, then hit him.
All right, seconds out.
The beautiful senior citizen in front of Jameel McCline right there. His beloved trainer, Jimmy Glenn, is as popular as anybody in the sport. In 40-plus years of training and various other tasks in the sport of boxing, Jimmy Glenn has never trained a world champion. That's one of the subplots here tonight, as Jameel McCline tries to get hold of that first title belt, not just for himself, but for Jimmy Glenn. A lot of people are rooting for that.
McCline is wisely not trying at this point to use his size simply to try to overwhelm. It's like, you know, trying to hit a fly with a knife, throwing big punches at Byrd.
He can't afford to wait on Byrd either, though, because Byrd has quick hands, and if he waits, Byrd's going to beat him to the punch all day long. Like that.
Right hand landed for McCline. That's what the crowd liked. Those boos that rained down from the rafters after round one suggest there might be a lot of people here who haven't seen Chris Byrd fight before. What did they expect?
Well, he can't afford to go out and take stupid chances either, Jim. He's giving up 56 pounds.
Never does take stupid chances. Although he said that he came close in his last fight against Andrew Galata because he wanted to entertain the crowd.
Yeah, but that's like a singles hitter trying to hit home runs. Doesn't work. Conversely, the heavyweight division is like sluggers in baseball. People don't go to watch Barry Bonds lay down bunts. And people want their heavyweights to punch.
The guys who have given Byrd trouble, aside from bigger, stronger guys like Ibeabuchi and to a certain degree Vladimir Klitschko, who just detonated him, guys like Frezzo Kendo and Vitaly Klitschko shortened up their punches, concentrated on just throwing straight, quick punches and trying to land. That isn't, for the moment, exactly what McCline is doing.
You can't beat Byrd waiting on him like this, though. That's Byrd's game.
You got to just swarm him, right?
You got to. You got to keep the pressure on him. That's what Ibeabuchi did to him. He kept the pressure on him the whole fight. Jameel is waiting too much. He's not going to beat him waiting on him like this.
Break. Step back.
Byrd is a slick southpaw with good, quick hands. Not a big power puncher, but his hands are very quick.
Klein hasn't shown himself as a big power puncher in the past. He's sure big enough to hurt Byrd. He hurt him there and put him on the canvas with the right hand.
2 seconds before the end of that round, a round he was losing, he got himself a 2-point round.
And that's the pressure I was talking about.
That is big time. Jameel Big Time McCline just made a clutch play at the end of the second round.
Chris, you all right? You all right? You all right? Lift your left leg for me. Left leg. Okay. Beat him.
You're going to try to do that on them wrong.
Everybody out.
Don't, when you hit that rope, come off and get back. If he hit me any way he can, okay? Don't worry about that.
Here we see a replay of the knockdown. Jameel got on the attack like I said he needed to do. Byrd was trying to trade with him, and he caught him with a very good right hand right over the top when he was coming across. Boom, there's a straight right across because he got him in the trading. being 56 pounds heavier than a guy, you must not be afraid to trade with him, and that's what Jameel did.
Byrd went down like a sack of bricks. He hadn't been hit that hard or gone down that way, I think, since the Ibeabuchi fight.
Yeah, but that's 56 pounds he's taking.
Big time.
Well, no, he takes a really good punch. Vladimir Klitschko had him on the canvas twice, and he got up.
Yep.
And he just got up then.
But Jameel McCline may well be ahead by 3 points now on all the scorecards. And now he's going after Byrd again.
But not wear himself out, because if he wears himself out and doesn't finish Byrd, he's going to have problems.
He's making contact. Has Byrd in serious trouble, and Byrd has to try to find a way out of there and hasn't found it so far.
Yeah, but he gets tired and runs out of gas. It's going to be the Byrd's advantage.
You're right. You know, they feel that the big guy cannot have a stamina late in the fight if he can survive.
And Byrd, hearing Roy Jones from close range, smiled at Roy for the comment that said he can make McCline run out of gas this way.
That's what Byrd wants. That's the fight Byrd wants. He just has to go to the body right now.
Yeah, but I don't know if he wants to get hit on caught in the ropes and catch too many of them, Roy.
No, he's not going to catch too many. Jameel's going to slow down. As you see, he's not doing nothing now. He's trying to rest. That's what happens with the big guys.
Yep.
That body shot hurt Byrd again. Now Byrd fights back. But Jameel got in a right hand to the ribs. And every time Jameel makes solid contact, he's giving Byrd a lot of trouble.
Yep, look at Byrd making a contact now.
Yep.
And Jameel is tired.
Wayne Kelly tells Byrd to keep him up. Line to the body. Byrd with a good right hand to the chest. Drives Jameel back.
But look at Jameel's mouth. And this is encouraging to Byrd because he knows he's a smaller man fighting a big man. If he can get this giant tired, he can do what he wants to do to him.
Quick right hook inside by Byrd.
Yeah.
McCline, who played football in high school, with a good tackle there.
He can't throw big punches in the middle of the ring. He's got to get him on the ropes to do that.
Attacks him with the right hand, drives him back into the ropes.
No holding.
You know, McCline is not known for his big heart. But when you're fighting a guy who is not a big puncher, as Galata did, suddenly you can take chances that you might not ordinarily do.
Byrd with a good left hand to the body. He landed a left to the chin. Now McCline gets him with 2 more straight hard shots.
But this is taking a lot of wear and tear on McCline. Trust me. Byrd is used to this. McCline's not.
That may be true, but the Chris Byrd of 4 years ago would have ducked and slipped a lot more of these punches.
Yeah, he probably would have.
How you feel?
We told you about the enormous friendship between the 2 fighters' wives.
Don't let him rest on you.
There's Tracy Byrd, Chris's wife, maybe the most visible woman in the sport in some ways, because Chris comes to every big fight. They're always seated at ringside. She knows everybody. She's very popular. And McCline's wife, Tina, is perhaps her closest friend in the sport. Tracy is proud of her new haircut, which makes her look, according to some, like Sharon Stone. And I think it does look really good.
Your time, baby.
Copy box numbers in round 3. Byrd 17 out of 42. McCline throwing 60. 22 out of 60. It's sure different when you're not facing a big puncher. Against Vladimir Klitschko, McCline only threw 30 punches per round. Now he's really letting his hands go.
And that's what Byrd wants.
Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 30-26. 3 rounds to nothing. Jameel McCline. Jim, I gotta tell you something. Why would a guy giving up 56 pounds stand in front of a big guy like that and trade with him? I mean, to me, it makes no sense at all. On ring generalship, I give this fight to Jameel McCline hands down. I that Chris Byrd's fighting the craziest fight I ever saw. Standing in front of this monster. And Jamil's just banging him too hard.
What do you think of what Harold said, Roy?
I agree with Harold to a degree, but Byrd's only chance to win is to do what he's doing now. Pressure, make him put out, and then try to get him tired. Beat his body, wear him down. That's the only way Byrd probably is going to beat this guy.
Is that partially because he's already behind on the scorecards and knows it?
Yeah, that's partially because of that, but at the same time, what other fight was Byrd going to fight against a Jameel McCline? Make him wear himself down, then beat his body, and outpoint him. Jameel's getting tired. You don't see him putting out the punches he was putting out in the first round.
Absolutely
they
right.
Don't have the snap on
this
the
is
head
by far the slowest round of the fight for McCline, whose pace is beginning to drop off. On the belt line, or maybe a tiny bit below, and Byrd didn't take it well.
But he hit Byrd with a good right hand right off of it, and it didn't bother Byrd at all.
Well, Byrd thinks he can beat McCline to the punch, and he's gotten himself into a firefight. I don't know if it's good for Byrd, but it's good for us.
Now he's doing what he's supposed to do to him right there.
Now he's jumping around McCline and popping him here and snapping him there.
Who's in better shape here? Hey! Who's in better shape?
Incidentally, McCline is not Jewish himself. He wears the Star of David on his trunks to honor his manager, Alan Wartsky.
Get free, get free.
Uppercut by McCline, 2 in a row. Byrd with a 3-punch combination. McCline whacking to the body.
Right there's where you like to see Byrd get off the ropes at. You don't want to see him sit right there. That's why I think it's good for him to move left or right and get out of there.
Here's a look at some significant weight differentials in heavyweight title fights over the years, headed by Primo Carnero's 86-pound advantage over Tommy Loughran. Jack Sharkey gave up 59.5 pounds to Carnero. Jack Dempsey savaged Jess Willard when outweighed by 58 pounds. McCline tonight has Byrd outweighed by 56. So the smaller man won in the fight between Dempsey and Willard. Usually the bigger man wins.
Yeah, Tommy Loughran was the light heavyweight champion. And from what I have read about that fight, he ran all night and disgraced himself.
Here's Tina McCline, incidentally. The other half of that Tracy Byrd, Tina McCline friendship we were talking about.
Second job. Let's go.
The two guys in the ring aren't having a problem. They're fighting each other regardless of how close their friendship is. In recent years, every time he's signed to fight somebody, Jameel McCline has picked up the phone and called Chris Byrd and said, okay, you tell me, what should I do against this guy? When Jameel signed to fight Byrd, he picked up the phone and called Chris Byrd and said, okay, I'm fighting you. Tell me what to do.
Wait on me, let me go first.
That's right. You listen hard, Jameel. I'll tell you what to do.
When Byrd learned to fight as a youngster, his father, who had been a heavyweight incidentally, taught him inside about an 8-foot square ring. So he's used to fighting right in front of people.
Byrd says that whenever he checks back on his father's career, he's truly amazed that a 5'7" heavyweight competed in the sport.
Well, that was the day before giants, with the exception of a few of them.
Story has been well documented. Byrd, the youngest of 8 children, growing up in Flint. Tremendous right-hand shot by McCline. He tries for another one, and Byrd ducks it.
But his head hunting now. In the beginning, he was going to the body with right hand instead.
And now Byrd with a straight left hand drives McCline back. Byrd and and his brother Patrick were taught by their father to box in a tiny downstairs room, an enclosed room in the house. And it's because of, or partially because of, the limited space in the room that Chris developed his unique defensive style. And that was a huge right-hand punch by McCline. And now Byrd's in trouble again. Let's see if Jameel McCline has a big enough punch to detonate Chris Byrd.
Right now, he doesn't have the breath to follow up.
And those big punches take a lot more out of you than a regular punch.
Step back. Let him go. Let him go.
I don't think I've ever seen Byrd take so many punches to the body, Roy.
Usually he's not there to be hit to the body.
Exactly
Good
my
body
point.
shot by Byrd, though.
Well, Chris Byrd is 34 years old, and he has walked the tightrope that he chose in the heavyweight division for 12 years. It takes something out of it.
I think Jameel's getting tired, though.
Whap, 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 whap. Byrd taking advantage of his faster hands and McCline's fatigue to rally himself.
Time!
Tough round to score. Byrd out punched him or out scored him with a number of punches, but McCline landed the heavier blows.
Referee Randy Newman about to offer instructions to Andrew Galata in a dressing room here in the bowels of the Garden. Let's check in.
A few times. We know the rules. If I want you to break, I'm going to say to break. If you don't break, I'm going to make you break. I want you to remember one thing very important. Defend yourselves at all times. I don't want to hear anybody say, he hit me on the clinch. The fight is live. We never stop. Okay? Any questions? Good luck. Thank you.
When he comes to throw
Kind
punches,
of an important
bend your
meeting.
knees. When he comes to throw punches, you do bend your knees, get low, and fire that right uppercut.
I want.
Second out.
According to Galata and his handlers, Newman, in the last time he had him, told him if he threw one low blow, he'd be penalized a point. 2 of them, he'd be disqualified. Newman says those are the instructions of the commission.
Newman was the referee for Galata versus Byrd in April. He was the referee for Ruiz versus Rockman last December. So he has, within the past year, refereed fights for both of the 2 unusual competitors who will be in the ring with him tonight.
And it's going to be an unusual fight tonight, too.
It could be one of the toughest refereeing jobs of all time. Byrd needs to reel off a string of rounds that are clearly his, because he appeared to lose the first round and got knocked down in the second round.
No punch.
You don't have all night to dig yourself out of that kind of a hole. And McCline is staying smart, and at this point, he is beginning to shorten up his punches a little and try to keep them on Byrd.
And he better be conserving some energy
to go down the stretch.
Yep.
Watch your head in there, Chris.
One potential advantage for Byrd would be the finishing power, since he's gone 12 rounds 7 times in his career, and McCline has been past the 10th only once.
Yeah, and Byrd is the boxer here, so he wants the distance fight.
Step back.
He's not expecting to knock Jameel McCline out with 1 punch.
Yeah, but McCline is not a big hitter for a big man. He's just I mean, he's strong, obviously. But with the exception of his fight against Michael Grant, everything has gone deep, deep into his fights.
Step back.
At the peak of his career 6 years ago, Byrd fought a huge puncher named Jimmy Thunder, and that fight was really the paradigm for what Chris Byrd can do, as he totally tied Thunder in knots and ultimately knocked Thunder out himself when Thunder was simply exhausted from trying to find Byrd in the ring.
And that's what he's hoping to do to McCline here tonight. But McCline is being smart. He's throwing good body shots. He's trying to shorten up on his punches. Just, I don't know how long he can continue to do this, though.
He's hitting Chris Byrd much more frequently than most opponents have ever had the chance to do.
Down, man. Hooks there for you all day, bro.
All day long.
Deep breath.
Jameel,
Slow your heart down.
this is your championship. This is your championship, but you got to pick it up. You understand? You got to go out here and get it like you want it. God damn it, and push these hands underneath and bang this hook to the body and come upstairs. And then you're going to have to worry no more. But you
Now we continue to cover the close friendship between Tina McCline and Tracy Byrd, both of whom said that it was pure hell for them to have to go through preparation for this fight and to face the prospect that their husbands would be fighting each other. As Larry Merchant pointed out earlier, they've traveled together. Chris Byrd has babysat for the McClines. They are intensely close in a lot of ways, but this happens in the sport. Who's the closest friend you had to fight, Roy?
It's business, you know. It's hard. It's very difficult when you have to face a friend. That's why in this game you try not to have many friends. I stayed away from a lot of people so that I never had to face many friends. The closest friend I had to fight was Lou Delvell.
And he knocked you down.
Yes,
First guy ever to knock you down.
Yeah, and that's just how it goes in this game. But, you know, you just have to do what you got to do. When it's a business move and it makes sense for both fighters, you got to do it.
Lou DeVal's a nice guy. Who's here in the Bronx might be here tonight. Total through 6. Byrd 80 out of 227 by CompuBox count. McCline 82 out of 287. McCline landing more power punches. Sometimes you'll see close friends get in and fight a real stinker. That isn't happening here. I remember the night that Kevin Kelly fought his close friend Clarence Bones Adams.
Yep.
And we were told that they would go to dinner together afterward, and I remember saying that I hoped that the dinner was more interesting than the fight. Might have been more competitive.
See, that's the fight Chris Byrd wants.
There you go.
This is the fight Chris Byrd wants.
This is the Byrd rhythm. Absolutely right.
And that's what he was waiting on. He wanted to get to this point in the fight where he can do something.
That's why Jimmy Glenn was telling Jameel McCline between rounds that he had to pick it up. He could see that his fighter's pace was beginning to ebb into the area where Byrd could become more effective.
Break. Get off it. Keep it clean. Come on.
One thing about Chris Byrd, he has zero fear.
That's what makes him such a good fighter. He likes beating on these big guys. That's why his heart is so big, because he knows once he get him in his territory, he got him. And he got Jameel right now. Actually, as long as he don't get caught on a big shot.
When Byrd says to you, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, he absolutely means it. Eagerly takes on anybody who outweighs him by 40, 50, because he thinks that gives him the advantage.
This has been Byrd's best round, largely because McCline seems to have slowed to a walk.
Well, the question now becomes, is there a second wind somewhere down the road for Jameel McCline? Or is the fight about to turn in Chris Byrd's favor? And now we go into John Ruiz's locker room, where you see his ubiquitous and faithful manager, Norman Stone, wrapping the hands, and well, now having finished wrapping the hands, putting the gloves on now, Johnny gets ready to warm up. Former trainer Gabe LaMarca has retired, so now Stone is the trainer as well as the manager for Ruiz. They're a tight pair.
Okay, now you got to do this. Keep yourself focused now. Keep yourself focused. And put your punches where you want them. Yep. You got to touch him there. You got to touch him.
Here you see Byrd right in where he wants to be. He throws 1, 2, 3 shots at a time, 1, 3 more shots at a time because he has Jameel so tired. Now he's peppering away on him because he's trying to build up his points, and that's very smart. He's throwing 4 and 5 and 6 punch combinations on the big guy because the big guy is tired.
And Chris doesn't have to worry about his own stamina, does he?
No, not at all. This is what he's been doing for the last 5, 6 years.
Well,
maybe longer than that even.
Like you, Roy, like some other top fighters, no bad habits. Obviously, as an utterly devout Christian, Chris is not a drinker, he's not a smoker, he doesn't stay out late, he doesn't party. He has no habits that get in the way of his being the best he can be in the ring.
You're exactly right. And that says a lot for Chris Byrd. That's why he's champion right now.
McCline momentarily freezes Byrd with a left hook.
Yeah, Byrd has to quit trading punches with McCline, though. That's not smart. McCline is too big for that.
McCline a little bit more energetic here in this round, the 8th, than was the case in the 7th, when Byrd landed 26 out of 58, his high totals for the fight.
Sit back.
See, that's the pressure Byrd wants to put on right there. He wants to make Jameel punch a few times, then beat his body and beat his head. Jameel is not used to seeing this in his face action like this for 12 rounds either. And Byrd knows that.
McCline landing the jab now. Byrd says, okay, you can land yours. Mine has more snaps.
Good try with the uppercut by Jameel McCline, but Byrd defended it very good. Byrd is seeing his punches so good now that it's hard for him to get a clean shot on Byrd. But Byrd is landing good punches because Jameel, oh, good shot, because Jameel is tired.
Accuracy, quickness. Chris Byrd starting to take over a little bit here in the 8th round.
Hand speed and fatigue. Oh,
you can see McCline trying to force himself back into the action.
Landed 3 nice shots there.
Mini comeback.
As Byrd gathered himself.
Oh, good read left hand.
Byrd wants to be certain that this round is in his column.
Oh, it is.
On the judges' scorecards.
This is like a point guard who is getting the rebounds.
Over a center.
Over a big guy. Over a center, right.
Enough that round to steal the last second of that round. You understand? There, get my belt. Come get your belt. You want it? You want the belt? Yeah. You want it? Well, you got to go get it, baby. Okay. You can't get it like this. You got to go out and get it. You hear me? Go get it. What you doing? That speed of killing me. You want more wire spin, or are you all right? Okay. Oh, you got that belt?
Once again, you see in these late rounds, Byrd using the quick hand speed, the combinations to wear on the big man. He goes to the body, comes back up with the uppercut, then comes across with the hook, slips the big punch, and he gets outside and ready to test him some more. There you see him with the jab and the straight left. Boom. Boom. Struck on the big man. The big man is tired, but he still has to be very cautious.
Roy, is Byrd trying to come from behind and win the fight on the scorecards, or is he trying to chop Jameel down?
Both. He's trying to win on the scorecards, but while in the process of winning on the scorecards, if he gets a chance, he's going to chop him down, because that would be insurance. A good left hand.
It was brilliant for Byrd. He landed 36 out of 73 punches. McCline 14 out of 45. So the fight has turned very markedly in Chris Byrd's favor. But how far behind was he before that happened?
You got to remember, too, though, the judge is going to look at the little guy compared to the big guy. Who's really doing what they're supposed to do? The little guy's controlling the fight here right now, not the big guy. And it looks twice as bad when the little guy's making the big guy do what he wants him to do, because the big guy's supposed to be in control.
But regardless of how bad it looks, he can only lose rounds 10-9 if he's not going down. And the bottom line is that McCline had a 3-0 lead, or a 3-point lead after the first 2 rounds, and may have won as many as 4 or 5 of the first 6. Right. So the question again is, how far did Byrd have to come from behind, and how much of the ground has he made up?
I guarantee he's made up a lot of the ground because he's been winning these last rounds pretty consistently.
After this round, we'll get to see where Harold has it on his scorecard, which is, of course, unofficial.
Now, he can't afford another knockdown, that's for sure.
If this fight goes the distance, incidentally, we won't get a chance to compare Harold's scorecard with that of his daughter, Julie Letterman. She was judging the last fight, which ended in a knockout.
If you think about it, that's partially why Byrd's getting decision wins over Galata and the other big guys in the country, because they got a size advantage. What else does he have to do?
Draw with Galata.
Well, draw, but still.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I know what you're saying. The point is well made.
Galata's 240, Roy. This guy's 270.
But Byrd is 214, so it doesn't matter. They're still way bigger than this guy, and he's murdering them.
McCline has been most successful when he's gone to the body and had Byrd against the ropes.
Well, it's easier to move your head than to move your body. It's very hard to get your torso out of the way if the guy is an accurate.
Oh, good body shot by Byrd. Byrd is going for pay dirt here.
McCline landed a straight right hand to close out the round. 2 weeks from tonight, Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera meet for the 3rd time on HBO pay-per-view. Their first 2 fights were classics. Each man won once. Each man appeared to win the fight that the other guy should have won. On November 27, we get the 3rd installment of one of boxing's greatest rivalries. December 11, also on HBO pay-per-view, Vitaly Klitschko returns to the ring and puts his heavyweight title belt, the WBC belt, on the line against Danny Williams, who recently knocked out Mike Tyson. What kind of a chance do you give Danny Williams against Vitaly, Roy?
Well, Vitaly's on his game right now. I don't think Danny Williams will really have a good chance against Vitaly unless he proves that he can take the punishment that Vitaly dishes out for a few rounds. Now, if you can take their punishment and make them work like Byrd did here tonight, that's your best chance at beating either of the Klitschkos.
Do you think that Vitaly is more effective as a hard right-hand puncher or as a boxer who knows how to use his range and his size to control the ring?
I think he's more effective as a boxer who knows how to use his size and his range to control the ring. That's what you saw him do against Lennox Lewis.
And to a certain degree in a waiting game against Corey Sanders, where he waited and allowed Sanders to burn himself out.
And then outsmarted him.
Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, you know something, you were right. Jameel McCline did have a big early lead, but Chris Byrd has come on. I got Chris Byrd winning the last 4 rounds. In other words, he won 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I've got it 5 rounds to 4 in rounds for Byrd, but in points, which is what counts in a fight, 85 to 85, all even, because McCline got that extra point for the knockdown in round 2.
I have the same score.
And that tells you that probably the official scorecards are very similar, because it's hard to imagine any of the judges being much more generous to McCline than Harold Letterman was in the early rounds. So, potentially an even fight or something close to it as we get to the 10th.
The only way McCline should be able to win this fight now is by knocking Byrd out, because he's going to lose these next 3 rounds as far as boxing goes. He's the big guy. I don't see him outboxing Byrd for 3 rounds.
At the end of a fight like this?
No. Now, he's definitely the stronger and the better puncher. If he does this kind of stuff, maybe he has a chance.
landed about 7 hard body shots, 2 or 3 shots to the head.
But watch what happens right here.
Let's see what he's got left.
He landed a lot of the body shots to Byrd's right arm.
Well,
they still hurt.
Yeah, I don't think that Byrd's feeling too fresh after that combination either. Whatever McCline is feeling.
There you go. That's what happens after this, though. Right here. This is what I said. Watch what happens after that.
Evander Holyfield was the first fighter who told me that these big guys cannot go at a hard pace for 12 rounds.
Oh, good shot.
Wayne Kelly is going to warn Jameel McCline for chopping the glove to the back of Byrd's head, but I give McCline credit. He's trying to get his hands on him any way he can.
Sit back.
Chris Byrd loves to talk to his opponents in the ring, and he's done a lot of talking to Jameel McCline tonight, Roy.
Yeah, because he makes him try to kill him, kind of like Ali did with Foreman.
It's one of the ways he shows his arrogance.
Make him try to kill him, make him wet himself down trying to kill him, then he makes him pay for it.
Gets into their heads.
Like Dennis Rodman almost, the worm.
Well, I have McCline winning this round, which means that Byrd has to win the last 2 rounds, at least on my card, to win the fight.
And it was impressive to me that he could pull out a round this late in the fight.
That's better.
So there's drama at Madison Square Garden as Jameel McCline tries to upset Chris Byrd, and Andrew Golota waits in preparation for the next big fight of his career. Tonight against John Ruiz. Golota's record in big fights, spotty to say the least. In his last one, he finally performed up to capability in a big fight and got a draw with Chris Byrd. And here's a look outside Madison Square Garden, where once again, the weather has been spectacular all day Saturday. If you like cold, clear, crisp days in New York, and they're my favorites, this was a great, great day.
Well, I don't care for the cold too much, you know.
I know you're from Pensacola.
Florida, that is.
You like those hurricanes, right, Roy?
Well, I don't care for those either.
These are the most 2 significant rounds on this card, perhaps, because McCline is the only fighter on the card who Don King doesn't control. If he should win this fight and take this title, he would wind up probably fighting Vitaly Klitschko.
You're not going to win and sit out there waiting on Chris Byrd like that, though.
Hoping to land 1 punch.
This is the 3rd of our 4 heavyweight fights on this pay-per-view card. Earlier tonight, Larry Donald easily decisioned Evander Holyfield. Unanimous decision for Larry Donald. Scores of 119-109. He took Holyfield apart. And then Hasim Rahman with an impressive 3rd round technical knockout of Kalinian. Rahman was well-trained, in great shape, all over Mian with hard power punches from the get-go. His best performance in 3 years. Jameel McCline still with enough energy to trade some with Chris Byrd, but Byrd now landing 2 or 3 shots for every one that McCline lands.
This is the most body punishment I've ever seen Byrd take, Roy. But he takes a punch to his body as well as he does to his chin.
Because he knows he's going to have to put up with that, being that he's the smaller guy.
But there was a time when he fought, you know, trying to throw punches as if he was trying to dust the furniture. You know, there was nothing behind anything. He was more intent on making his opponent miss than on hitting his opponent. And that's when he was a really big turnoff. He's fighting much more crowd-pleasing fights recently. Maybe more dangerous fights for him as well.
And that's what the crowd wants to see, danger.
Risk.
Yeah. Oh, good shot.
He just missed. He really loaded up. He just missed.
Let him go.
This has been a very big round for Chris Byrd. McCline just got some advice from Roger Bloodworth as he looked to his corner while in that clinch with Byrd.
Good hook. Oh, good shot, by the way. That hurt McCline.
Yeah.
Oh, McCline hurt.
Stunned McCline, and got his chance right now. McCline takes his big body and tries to lean all over Byrd to blunt the assault.
All right, down, break. Let him go, let him go.
And that stops the bleeding for the moment.
For the moment.
20 seconds to go in the round.
If that flurry doesn't win the fight right now, it'll soften up McCline for the last round.
Well, on your scorecard, Larry, we're going to be even going to the 12th.
Yep.
The fight is going to be on the table.
With Byrd, that's the pressure man.
McCline,
You're losing this fight.
flanked by her daughters.
Fight, we're gonna lose. Let me tell you something, Jameel. This is it. You gotta go out here and like.
Quintessential Chris Byrd, Roy.
Yeah, he's throwing flurries now. He's got the hook on McCline. McCline wasn't ready for that hook. I think it hurt him, but the combination of punches is what's killing him. And accumulation of punches and that pressure is really wearing him down. And Byrd is...
Who win this round? We're gonna touch gloves. Good luck.
Who win this round, win the fight. This round, now you see.
Very competitive Tracy Byrd yelling at her husband the same thing that Dad said, win this round, win the fight.
And all he got to do is go to the body something, he will win this
And
round.
she's the one who encouraged Chris Byrd to sue Don King to get the full value of his contract, $2.5 million a fight, which he didn't get in his previous 3 fights. And that's what he's getting tonight.
And he's earning it too. This has been a hard-fought struggle against Jameel McCline. McCline came out and jumped Byrd in the first couple rounds, managed to put him down in the second round, appeared to have a 3-point lead on the scorecards coming out of those rounds, had a good plan, went to the body, sometimes shortened up his punches, has done about as well as he possibly could, but Byrd has mounted the comeback on the basis of his stamina and his skill, and now is in position to perhaps win the fight.
Yes, I think he's in excellent condition to win the fight. Position to win the fight. I think if he goes to the body here, wear McCline down, he can pull this off. And you got to remember, a draw goes to Byrd anyway. Well, he keeps his title anyway.
Yep. And stays in the mix, perhaps for the tournament or a shot at Vitaly Klitschko, whatever. All Byrd right now. McCline must be hoping that he's got one more big assault in him somewhere.
Looks like an almost helpless giant at the moment. You know, an elephant who somehow can't kick the mouse.
Two very determined fighters. Both came determined to win tonight. And when they embrace at the end in friendship, the friendship is legitimate in its teeth. But they have fought tooth and nail in spite of it.
And Jameel is trying to get knocked out, but Byrd just fighting a very small fight here. I don't think Jameel can knock Byrd out if he hits him right now.
In 40-plus years as a trainer, Jimmy Glenn has never had a fighter win a title belt. In the first 6 rounds tonight, he was probably thinking, I'm on my way.
Well, now he's about thinking, forget about it.
McCline may fall short, just as Terrence Ali once did when Glenn had his best chance in the lightweight division 12 years ago.
The little guy taunting the big guy captures the attention of the crowd.
They'll go to the scorecards, and this will be an interesting decision. Crowd boos Byrd, or some do anyway, as he gets up on the top rope.
Yeah, because they want a big punch. They want a home run hitter in the heavyweight champ. That's all. He's fought an excellent fight to me. I think he fought a very smart fight. He had to come from behind against 56 pounds, and I think he did a wonderful job.
In round 2, Jameel McCline, having been the aggressor from the get-go, knocked Chris Byrd down with a little right hand against the ropes. Then in round 5, McCline was still putting some hurt on Byrd, landing to the body with greater frequency than most fighters have been able to achieve. But by the 7th round, Chris Byrd had begun to come on. It was about this point when Roy Jones pointed out that McCline couldn't possibly do anything but fade down the stretch. His 270-pound body decrease it. And by the time of the 11th round, Byrd was in position to complete the comeback and tried to come on and gain the decision in the fight. There have been some tough rounds to score. There were several that were easy. Now here go the two wives hand in hand in to join the two husbands who have just embraced each other and rekindled the friendship. And moments from now, one will be disappointed and one will be overjoyed unless it's a draw.
You're right. Both of them will still be overjoyed when they go to the bank tomorrow, though. Or Monday, that is.
That's why they do it.
Oh, man, so much. Talk to me about it. I can't believe I went down.
Judges are Glenn Feldman from Connecticut.
Behind it.
And he had the right score, or a little bit of a lopsided score, I should say, for James Toney against Giraffe. Luis Rivera, 120 to 108 for Jones against Telesco. That wasn't terribly difficult to see. Don Trella of Connecticut. And this is the first notable fight he scored, and what a job he gets. In his first big fight, Don Trella has to try to sort out what happened in a contrasting styles fight that was close.
Yeah,
but now they have the decision. Wait a minute, before they do. Harold, what's your final score here?
Well, I got to tell you something, Jim. I thought Chris Byrd did a great job pulling out rounds 11 and 12. As a matter of fact, I called round 11 10-8 for Byrd because, I mean, he seriously had him staggered. No question. He did win the 12th round. 114, 112, Chris Byrd.
Interesting. And now let's hear the official scores from Michael Buffer. And who won the fight? Well, as it turns out, they are not yet ready with that decision. And if the scores are close, they would be well advised to be careful, go through the cards twice, make sure all the numbers have added up correctly. We've seen some strange things in the past few years. Situations where, for instance, one fighter left the ring thinking he was a winner, Mark Johnson in Corpus Christi, Texas, and 20 minutes later learns that opponent Rafael Marquez was actually the winner on the scorecards.
I really wasn't, not like that. Jimmy got too jealous. Jimmy and Roger, you know what they're doing. Thank you, brother. Either way it go, man, you're still my man. I love you. Let's pray. Let's pray about this. Heavenly Father, we just thank you, praise you. Allow us to be in this Madison Square Garden to excite the fans, but most importantly, we represent you.
As Chris Byrd and Jameel McCline once again consecrate their friendship in prayer, here's Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at Madison Square Garden, we go to the scorecards. Glenn Feldman scores at 114 to 112 for McCline. Don Trella scores at 115 to 112 for Byrd. Luis Rivera scores at 114 to 113 for the winner by split decision and still IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Chris Byrd.
Roy Jones, Chris Byrd is the master of the narrow escape. A narrow escape last year against Freso Kendo, a narrow escape with a draw earlier this year against Andrew Galata, and now another narrow escape.
No, that wasn't a narrow escape. That was a hard-earned victory. He came back from behind and took that.
Final CompuBox numbers will show how Byrd came back in the latter portion of the fight, winding up landing 79 more punches than did McCline, throwing 73 more punches than did McCline, and landing at a significantly higher connect percentage. Power shots, Byrd throws more power punches. lands one more power punch than did McCline. Now, obviously, McCline's power punches tend to have more power than do those of Chris Byrd, but still, this is a commentary on the amazing art of Chris Byrd going in, placing himself in danger time and time again, and continually getting the better of bigger men. Larry Merchant stands by with the winner.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Chris. Early in the fight, you said that you'll get him in the end. He won't have the stamina. Was that what you were counting on throughout those early rugged rounds?
Yep. That, really, honestly, I can't out-muscle him. He came ready. I mean, I haven't seen, I'll spar with him, not that kind of determination, not even in fights. I can't even get him to fight like that when he fights guys. But he gonna fight me like that. It's for the title, so he put it all together. He's ox strong.
When you went down in the second round, at the end of that round, were you hurt?
Oh, yeah. He hit me with a good, clean shot. And I'm like, oh, and it was a combination. He threw 3 buttons, and the last one, I think, was a hook, hit me right on the button. I went down, I was like, oh, man. It reminded me of Ike Ibeabuchi. And I was like, this time, I'm getting up, and I'm going to fight. I don't care. I don't care. He don't have to kill me. They don't have to put me on the stretcher.
All right. Jameel, coming out after the 10th round, you made a big effort in that round. On many scorecards, you either made it even or were slightly ahead. And you looked across the ring and you winked at Chris. Take a look. Now,
actually, that wink was at Tracy Byrd.
So, what was it like fighting your friend?
Listen, you know, it's a tough business here, and it was just about business in there. We had no relation to friendship or anything like that. It was just going to take care of business.
Did you run out of gas?
I don't know. I mean, I have to look at the tape. I don't, you know, I trained really hard. I was in really great shape, and you know, it looked like I fell apart there a little bit at the end. I couldn't keep my balance, so I guess that, you know, I guess that looks like I could have run out of gas, but it didn't feel like I did.
Thank you for a good fight, Jameel. Chris, he hit you a lot of body shots. Never saw you get hit so many body shots.
Oh, yeah. I'm rolling with him. I was ready for it. That's the game plan of every heavyweight, to throw the body. And I'm surprised I got hit to the head, and it was a combination. I got caught in the ropes. But everybody gonna throw the body.
In the best of all worlds, who would you fight next?
In the best of our world, Vitaly Klitschko, the winner of Klitschko, Danny Williams, or really, honestly. All right, whoever down put me in with.
All right, if that can't happen, in the next best of all worlds, who do you fight?
The winner of John Ruiz Galata.
You think that there could be a unification fight?
You got to talk to Mr. King right here. Honestly, he's a man that's going to control it. I can't do it. Whatever he put together, I'm with it.
All right, thank you very much,
Chris.
Thank you, Larry. We'll talk to King after the next fight and see if we can learn anything about the future.